Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk about Lao Tzu and Machiavelli today. I hope you've already read the essays, Thoughts from the Tao Teaching, and The Qualities of the Prince. I hope you've already annotated the text and found parts of the text that you like, that you respond to. And I hope you found questions about the texts. What do you not understand? Are there any words that you don't understand or terms? I hope you've noted those. So this slideshow is just a quick presentation, kind of what would happen if we were in class. Obviously, if we were in class, this presentation would be a lot longer. So I'm going to make this brief. Lao Tzu. What are some main points about Lao Tzu? Lao Tzu believes in the natural goodness of the world and of people. He believes that people are naturally good and that the world will work in a very sort of organic way. And that when we interfere with that natural organic world, that's when problems happen. He believes that the evildoer should be met with good. And that's an important point, that even the evil people should be met with a kind heart. Machiavelli, on the other hand, his theory on leadership is not so optimistic. I would argue that he does not believe in the natural goodness of people. He believes that the leader, the prince, should be shrewd, should be manipulative, should always be focused on war, should always be focused on being on top, making sure that the leader is focused on winning. Please think about these two theories. Which theory do you respond to? Are you in line with Lao Tzu's theory on leadership and government, or are you more a Machiavellian leader? I hope you stop and think about that for a second. Think before you proceed forward. Okay, so here I have outlined some key points. Lao Tzu versus Machiavelli. So if we go over to the left side, Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is interested in issues that govern individual life. He believes in the individual goodness of people. People should not seek power. Events will naturally unfold. He believes that the goodness will always appear and that the world can govern itself. The best leader is moderate. He or she is open-minded, tolerant, and flexible. Machiavelli, on the other hand, the prince's sole concern should be war. The prince should study war, think about war, plan for it. A prince must be realistic rather than idealistic. Judicious cruelty shows more compassion than excessive mercy. Sometimes a leader must show some level of cruelty to show his subjects that he is in charge. Shrewd manipulation is key. It doesn't really matter how you get to what you have to do. You just got to win. And the prince need not be virtuous, but only seem to be. A leader must not be hated, but he must not be loved either. Now, a lot of people, when they read Machiavelli, they focus on the ends justify the means. And that is an important point, and you got to think about it. Now, in Italian, in the translation, the English version is the ends justify the means. But in Italian, it's not quite that catchy. But the idea is still the same. Does it matter how you won the war as long as you won? Machiavelli would argue, no, it doesn't matter how you won the war. The fact is you won. And that's the most important part. So think about these lists and see how they're different. See how these theories are different. Okay, so now we're going to analyze a specific part of Thoughts from the Tao Teaching. If we were in class together, we would spend about an hour and a half going through different sections of the text, and I would point to a section and say, what do you think this means? What do you think this means? Does it remind you of anything? Can you think of a current events example that helps illustrate this point? Obviously, we can't have that kind of discussion in an online class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this to you, and I would like you to pause and think. You're looking for words that mean a couple of things, words that need to be interpreted. You're looking for ideas that you can think of an example that helps illustrate that idea, okay? So I'm going to read this, and then I want you to pause the slideshow. And I want you to take out a highlighter in your text, highlight the words that you think are important, write in the margins, okay? So this is part of verse 19. Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. Okay, so stop the slideshow, highlight words that you think need to be talked about, write in the margins about what you think the lines mean, okay? Okay, so remember, what is analysis? Analysis means reading something and stopping. Reading, stopping, and thinking. What do the words or phrases or lines literally mean? What do they imply? And then why are they important to study? So when I read this verse, my eyes went to holiness and wisdom, morality and justice, industry and profit. So for me, what does holiness and wisdom mean? Well, when I think of the word holiness, I think of God or gods, and I think of religion. In wisdom, I think about knowledge and intelligence. Morality, I think about right and wrong. And justice is sort of that codification of right and wrong. Industry, for me, means business. And profit means the money. Sort of what's the benefit of that business. And when I go back to holiness and wisdom, and they're grouped together with the and. So I think of holiness, I think of religion. And so when you codify something, when you take religion and you put a restriction on it and you say, if you're holy, you're wise. Morality and justice, saying that you have to put a definition on it. You have to put a definition on things. When in industry and profit, when you're only concerned about gaining, okay? All of these things, all of these artificial categories lead to not good things. Because if you take away sort of that organized religion, if you take away definitions of justice, when you take away the desire to create a business to create money, well, guess what? People will be happier. People will automatically do the right thing, and people won't be evil. It's the restrictions. It's the codification. It's the classification of terminology. It's the labeling that's causing the bad. Does that make sense? So think about it. When you read this verse, what did you think? So now let's do a Machiavelli section, okay? This is on page 94 of the 10th edition. I'm going to read this to you, and what I want you to do is think about it, underline, write in the margins, okay, and then pause this slideshow. Since then, a prince must know how to make good use of the nature of the beast. He should choose among the beasts the fox and the lion. For the lion cannot defend itself from traps, and the fox cannot protect itself from wolves. It is therefore necessary to be a fox in order to recognize the traps, and a lion in order to frighten the wolves. Okay, so stop, underline, highlight, write in the margins, and in the next slide I will help you analyze. So I'd like to apologize for my underlining skills. I'm using a tablet and I have to underline with my finger. But these are the words that jumped off the page for me. Now remember, when we analyze, we think, okay, what do the words literally mean? What do they imply? And why are they important to study? So I've highlighted the making good use of the nature of the beast. So when I read this, I think Machiavelli is saying that the leader has this choice of finding parts of the beast and figuring out what he wants to be like. So he has a choice. He chooses to be a beast. Man has higher intellectual capabilities. So man can think and can make decisions. And so man can choose to find and manipulate parts of a beast. And what is a beast? Literally, a beast is an animal. An animal reacts instinctually, right? And so the man has to act instinctually and has to do the fox and the lion behavior. Now, the fox is always thinking about threats and looking ahead and trying to find, is someone trying to trap him? And the lion is one of the most dangerous predators in the world, right? He or she, I guess the girl lion, can attack and kill. The lion is at the top of the food chain. So Machiavelli is telling the prince, look, you have to be that manipulative, sly fox looking for threats, but you also have to be willing to attack and kill. So Machiavelli is telling the leader, hey, you have a choice here. Don't just sit around waiting for things to happen. You have to act, think, plan, and be willing to do whatever you have to do. You have to be willing to act instinctually. And this is important because he's saying, you know what, as a leader, you have a lot to do. You're constantly on your toes. You can't sit around and let the world pass you by. You got to be ready to act and do whatever you need to do in that moment. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed my conversation about Lao Tzu and Machiavelli. Remember, when you read a text, slow down, stop, take out a pen, ask what that section literally means, what it implies, and why it's important. Okay? All right. Good luck this week.